The member for Halifax Citadel, Sable Island.
Mr. Speaker, and like my colleagues, I'm happy to rise today to recognize this initiative. Certainly this issue, the desire to start families, is not one that's limited to couples or to heterosexual couples, but to individuals, couples, and families. And certainly is one that I heard about during the campaign on the doorstep, and I hear about from constituents. So being able to access fertility support in Nova Scotia. And like other colleagues have mentioned, just a few concerns around the reliance on tax credits to ensure this access. So this is one part for those who can afford it and can afford the initial investment, but we'd also like to see the expansion of publicly funded insurance to infertility treatments and surrogacy. And like my colleagues from Dartmouth North said, the associated drug treatments. And I'm also curious in terms of other investments that can be made. As you know, as I work in health policy and look at gender affirming care, I know that in fact there are other issues that enable access. So one very easy one is, do people see themselves in the government policy? Do they understand when they hear the words of their leaders? Do they understand their communities and their families are included? And I would argue that we could do quite a bit of work in that. I know that the Department of Health and Wellness has a diversity, equity, and inclusion group, and I'm wondering, has that group been engaged to look at issues? What sort of analysis has been done about who is impacted, who is left out by this initiative, and what can be done to make it more inclusive? And then also to consider, again, if we want to make sure that the services that we want to make easier for Nova Scotians to access are truly accessible, then thinking about how do we support increased cultural competency amongst service providers. So what sort of training, what sort of ongoing medical education is necessary so that medical professionals are able to provide this in a way that welcomes all types of diversity into their treatment. Thank you.
If I am to